In a world that constantly pulls at your attention, drains your energy, and demands more than it gives, peace is not a luxury. It is a necessity, and yet most people treat peace as if it's optional, as if it's something to be earned or stumbled upon, rather than something that must be fiercely protected. But here's the truth: your peace is your power. It is the inner stillness that allows you to think, feel deeply, and move intentionally. Without it, everything suffers. Your health, your focus, your relationships, your creativity. So when we say protect your peace at all costs, we're not just giving poetic advice, we're outlining a principle for survival, growth, and meaningful living. What is peace? Peace is not merely the absence of noise, tension, or external conflict. It is not limited to a serene room, a silent retreat, or a few undisturbed hours on a Sunday morning. True peace is an inner equilibrium, a deeply rooted stillness that exists regardless of the surrounding storm. It is the ability to remain calm, not because life is quiet, but because you are. It is the grounded confidence that even when the world is spinning, it is knowing that while you cannot always control what happens around you, you can control how you respond within yourself. Peace is not about avoidance, not of people, problems, or emotions. It is not detachment or indifference. It is not emotional suppression. Rather, it is the profound strength of choosing presence over panic, truth over illusion, and stillness over reaction. It is waking up in full ownership of your emotional landscape, not outsourcing your mood to the circumstances of the day. When you are at peace, you are no longer at war with yourself. You stop fighting for perfection, approval, and constant control. You don't shrink to keep others comfortable, nor do you overextend to be accepted. Peace allows you to inhabit your life, but as your most honest self. Peace is clarity in a world full of noise. Peace is present in a life built on distraction. Peace is freedom from the invisible chains of fear, anxiety, and external validation. And once you've experienced it, not just fleeting calm, but true peace, you begin to understand why it must be protected at all costs. Why peace must be protected. We live in a world engineered to disrupt your peace at every turn. It's not a flaw in the system, it's the design. Social media thrives on comparison and curated illusion, making you question your worth in the blink of a scroll. News cycles are crafted to keep you in a perpetual state of alertness, feeding you fear as entertainment. In many work environments, exhaustion is worn like a badge of honour, and productivity is prized more than well-being. Even relationships, there is noise everywhere: emotional noise, mental noise, digital noise, expectations, notifications, conversations you didn't ask for, pressures you never agreed to. The world will not hand you peace. And unless you are actively, intentionally, and unapologetically protecting your peace, that noise will become your default. It will wrap itself around you until chaos feels normal and stillness feels uncomfortable, until you're no longer responding to life. Without peace, your nervous system lives in a constant state of fight or flight. You begin to overreact to minor inconveniences because your threshold for stress is already maxed out. You confuse urgency with importance. Rushing through your days, you start to crave distraction. Scrolling endlessly, eating mindlessly, speaking reflexively, you begin to lose yourself, not all at once, but slowly, invisibly. You bend to fit other people's expectations. You absorb their moods, their drama, their opinions. You silence your boundaries to keep the peace with others, all while waging a war within yourself. The cost: anxiety, fatigue, resentment, a quiet, aching misalignment between the life you're living and the peace you long for. Here's the hard truth: peace doesn't just appear. It is a sacred space you must guard from intrusions, both external and internal. Because when your peace is under siege, everything else in your life begins to suffer. Your clarity, your health, your presence, your purpose. That's why you must protect it. Not once, not occasionally, daily, fiercely, without apology. Choosing peace is not just a personal act, it's a revolutionary one. What threatens your peace? There are a few common culprits that consistently rob people of their peace. They're subtle, socially accepted, and often internalised. People-pleasing, saying yes to avoid conflict, to be liked, or to not disappoint, even when it costs you. Toxic environments, whether it's a job, home, or circle of friends. If the space drains you more than it fills you, your peace is under attack. Overthinking. The mind, when left unchecked, becomes a battlefield. Rumination, comparison, unhealed wounds. When you don't address emotional pain, you carry it into every conversation, decision, and relationship, like a boundaries. Every time you allow someone or something to violate your limits, you trade your peace for temporary comfort. How to protect your peace, no matter what. Protecting your peace requires commitment. It means becoming the gatekeeper of your own life. You don't have to control everything around you, but you do have to control what you allow in. Start by saying no without guilt. Let that be your foundation. Every time you say yes to something that's not aligned with your values or energy, you're saying no to yourself. You can't afford to abandon yourself to keep the peace with others. That's not peace, that's self-betrayal. It might mean walking away from a draining conversation. It might mean disappointing people who expect you to be everything for them. Become intentional with your inputs. What you consume becomes what you carry. Guard your attention as if it's your most precious currency, because it is. Curate your media, your conversations, your thoughts. Stop feeding your nervous system with junk and calling it information. And perhaps most importantly, practice solitude. Learn to be at peace in your own company. Not distracted, not numbed, just present. Meditation, journaling, walking in nature, sitting in silence, these are not luxuries, they are rituals of return. They bring you back to yourself again and again. The cost of peace. When you protect your peace, you will lose things. You will lose connections that depended on your dysfunction. You will lose opportunities that come with too much chaos. But what you gain is priceless. You gain clarity. You gain alignment. You gain the energy to pursue what matters. You gain the strength to walk away from anything that costs you more than it's worth. You gain yourself. Final truth. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it is sacred. You are not here to constantly explain yourself, to fix everyone's pain, to answer every call, to be everywhere at once. You are not here to live at the mercy of noise, urgency, or emotional debt. You are here to live in alignment with clarity, purpose, and stillness at your center. So draw your lines, say your no, walk away when needed, close the tab. Turn off the screen, choose silence, choose simplicity, choose yourself, because when you protect your peace, you protect your power. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and keep the conversation going.